Arise, giving all praise to Allah, the Father of the universe, the cherisher and sustainer of all the boundless universes. We extend the highest of honor to His Holy Divine Prophet Noble Drew Ali, the founder of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Islam? We extend high honors as well to his forerunner, the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey, the founder of the Universal Negro Improvement Association, who did indeed warn and stir up the nations. Islam? We extend high honors as well to the Moorish flag, the red flag with the green 5-pointed star in the center. 5 points representing love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. These are the 5 highest principles known to man. Islam? We extend high honors to the American flag, also known as the Stars and Stripes. This flag exists as a constant reminder that the European owes you the Moors with compound interest. This is also the flag of our birth. Islam? Extending high honors to the noble Sheik staff, noble Vanguard staff who keep the peace, and giving honors to you, the ills and babes, for without you, there is no Moorish movement. Islam? How's everyone on the holy night?
All is well.
I'm going to say Moorish. That's an answer. That's a Moorish American answer. Again, I'd like to extend further honors to all those that demonstrated the trip to Philadelphia. I was not able to go. I was biting nails at the last minute, hoping I was going to be able to go, because hope is the beacon light. But my light got kind of dim. And, but I felt secure in knowing that we had a sound delegation to go and represent not just Temple 19, but represent our prophet in the city of Philadelphia. Islam? Sitting back watching, all the footage that went down, I mean, it was, like I said, it was extremely high. Just seeing all those fezzes and turbans all through the streets, seeing Sister Zenobia and Brother Sar walking the streets of Philadelphia, just, more talking about he hungry and, you know what I'm saying? I saw it all, sister. But it was just a beautiful thing, man. And just, when everybody was on location, and to hear Grand Sheik Zim Hopkins Bey, we give high honors to, as our brother, laborer, on the highways and byways. We give honors to this Moor for continuing the work of his father, continuing the work of the prophet, driving home how important it was, the stripping of the nationality was. See, it's one thing to quote it, but it's another thing to take a person by the hand and walk them through on the path of how it was stripped, and take them to the location of where it was stripped.
That's right.
So, that's a great and mighty deed, and that's nothing that should ever be glossed over. Also giving honors to Temple 13 in Baltimore, Grand Sheik Clarence Pray the Hill, and the march they did in Washington D.C.
That's right.
I'm using the word march because that's in our record, the Holy Quran, the Moorish Science Temple. They talk about the Silent Brotherhood March to Counter. But they were demonstrating degrees, and the most powerful thing about that, because he was demonstrating degrees of crucifixion, how people still being crucified daily. The same thing that happened to the Nazarene 2,000 years ago, they're doing to all our brothers and sisters in the streets right now.
Right.
So that's not a myth to us.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's something we're experiencing right now. But but to me, one of the more powerful things was, again, the interaction with foreign nationals, because as they engaged, I remember one clip I saw where Brother Taharka Bey, and I forget the other brother's name. Brother, please forgive me, because as this video goes out. Please forgive me, but the brother did a phenomenal job, light-skinned brother was there. But as they were dialoguing with each other, a cab pulled up, and it was a Moroccan national was in the cab. And he looked, he said, "Well, what is this?" I said, "Well, we're demonstrating our nationality, our divine freedom, teaching our people." He said, "Isn't that the Moroccan flag?" And the more they was talking to Brother Talking Bay, he looked with that insane Moorish look that when you ask him something that our prophet taught us. He said, "Isn't that the Moroccan flag?" He said. And proceeded to just go in on the topic. And as he demonstrated, without going through, if you go to Brother Taharka Bey's page on Facebook and get the whole demonstration, but he ultimately asked the Moroccan, he said, "What's your nationality?" He said, "I'm a Moroccan." He said, "So you're from Africa?" He said, "Yes." He said, "But you live in America?" He said, "Yes." "So are you American citizen?" He said, "Yes." He said, "So are you African American?" He said, "No, there's no such thing." Immediately, see, like Brother Raphael and I were talking earlier, and we were demonstrating back and forth with experiences, because I wanted to get the pre-demonstration, to hear what was going on. But one thing that I shared with the brother is that it's going to take us generations, to get to the mind state where when that question is asked, you immediately shut it down because it doesn't make sense.
Right.
See, like now, we're in a state of limbo where we're entertaining that foolishness.
Right.
And as a result of that, the nations of the earth know we're not on a good foundation, thus they can hit us with stuff to bewilder us.
That's right.
You see? There was another one he demonstrated with some brothers from Algeria. And he asked the same thing, you know, so, you know, you Algerian, yeah, from Africa, yeah. So you're African American, and he was like, he said, you can't even act it. He was stumbling, like his brain shut off, you know? But, you know, this is the point, you know, because again, right, we have to remember that from birth, these brothers and sisters from various different nations are taught these principles.
That's right.
Islam. So we take for granted our Moorish science temples of America. But there is nowhere else in America where you can get these lessons. Not for you. Yeah, you can go up on Buford Highway where the Mexican consulate is, and they're demonstrating that amongst Mexican nationals.
Right.
But you're not really welcome there.
Right.
Because it's not for you, it's for Mexico.
That's right.
Islam, you can go up on, I think it's in Dunwoody, to the, what is that? I think it's the Brazilian consulate. Same thing. You go there, the Brazilian flag's flying. All the interest that's taking place there is the commerce and trade for Brazilian nationals. You see what I'm saying? And they're teaching them how to live under this. Islam, because they have a descent flag, right? But the descent flag on this soil is only as valid as, you know, showing that you have a verifiable pedigree.
That's all.
You know, that you're a descendable people, right? Not that you're a non-descendable people. You know, in other words, that when we open the annals of history, we can point and say, okay, this is this group of people, welcome. That's who the Statue of Liberty is talking to on that plate that's on the side. You know, give me all your tired and huddled masses and all that. That ain't talking about people that ain't got no nationality.
That's right.
Islam, you know, but you know, so it was just, you know, like I said, like I, you know, said when I came up earlier, it was just a very high time. And again, you know, and Brother Akhenaten can probably bear me witness, you know, driving the home greater because he proclaimed his nationality before I did. But you know, the time, these high times that we're seeing amongst the Moors nationally, it wasn't always this way.
That's right.
It wasn't always this way, Moors. You know what I'm saying? Like 29, when the Prophet gave up his form, the Moors went into a civil war that lasted until close to the 90s. I know that sounds crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like it was a period of time. There's a custom amongst a lot of temples that brothers don't put their fez on until they get to the temple. They carry their fez. You see your fez case?
That's right.
They'll come to the temple this way, right? Then when they get to the temple, then they unveil it and reveal the light. You know what I'm saying? The reason why that comes to pass is because there was a period of time that if you was of the wrong body of Moors and you got caught wearing the fez, something might happen to you. You know, because the ancient hatred was just that strong. You know what I'm saying? There were kidnappings, there were temples that were blown up. There's a lot of history y'all don't know about. You see what I'm saying? So for those of us who know the history of the movement and to see, it's starting to elevate and starting to take the true shape that it had originally when this man right here was in the form. See, this was the one. See, under him, when he was in the form, there was only one Moorish Science Temple of America. That's right. Nationally, right? All these groups that we see subsequent to the Moorish Science Temple of America came on the scene after the Prophet Noble Drew Ali gave us form up. That's right. Right? Then people start taking bits and pieces of what the Prophet taught and had an idea for themselves. Right? If you walk out of these doors right now and turn left, right? And I'm saying this respectfully. There's a church right there. United House of Prayer for All People. Does anybody know who the founder of that was?
Daddy Grace.
Sweet Daddy Grace. Anybody know Sweet Daddy Grace's origins? Moorish Science Temple of America. It's a card-carrying member of the Moorish Science Temple of America. I have a very close minister friend of mine whose name I leave anonymous to protect his office, but he's third generation House of Prayer, and he shared with me that his grandfather showed him that on the United House of Prayer letterhead originally was Salvation, Allah, Unity, with the star and crescent, the same setup. If you Google Sweet Daddy Grace, you'll see him with Asiatic attire on. That's right. He looked like you could take that picture and superimpose it right on the convention picture of 1928. And right? But he took the degrees of Jesus and the economic program that the Prophet laid out and went and never looked back. Islam, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, respectfully, right, demonstrated what the Honorable Marcus Bazar Garvey and the Prophet Noble Drew Ali demonstrated. And look at the nation of Islam he built. Right? But now the time is coming now where the Moors or the Moorish Americans must come into their own. And I'm speaking about specifically to the lost sheep of the House of Noble Drew Ali. That's right. That's what I'm speaking to, right? Because there's a lot of Moorish Americans with hills and bays, and a lot of times how they may have acquired that L or bay might not have been on a good foundation. So when you question them, they don't really know the prophet.
Son.
They don't know him.
That's right.
They've never met him.
That's right.
You know, you could read about Noble Raleigh. You could Google Noble Raleigh. You see what I'm saying? You know, it's different ways, but until you find a place sincerity-wise, right? You say, I really want to know this, you know, but it's not through your aggressive searching for it. It's through your submission to the will of Allah that it reveals itself to you, right? And after a while, you know, in your demonstrating out there, and we're going to get that out there in a minute, when you're demonstrating out there, these lessons will unfold themselves to you as you're out there demonstrating. Islam. So, you know, study. You know, it says in the record, you know, if you would ask me what to study, I would say yourselves. If you know, having well studied them, if you come back and ask me what to study again, I would say yourselves. You see what I'm saying? And how many selves do we have? 2. Name them. Higher self and lower self. Everybody got one, despite your nationality. If you're Chinese, you got a higher and lower self. Hindu, Indian, higher and lower self. European, higher and lower self.
That's right.
I know we don't think he got a higher self. He got one.
That's right.
Islam. And if you don't think he got one, research, you know, Madame Blavatsky. You know, research Gurdjieff. Research, you know, even Crowley. Aleister Crowley. Don't follow Crowley, but research it.
Right.
All right? Because when you research it, you see they were trying their best to demonstrate higher wisdom that your forefathers dealt with.
That's right.
And what they took it and called it what New Age thought. But New Age thought is really just recycled old age stuff into us. The Prophet told us a new era is a new era of time.
Right.
But he brought us the wisdom of our forefathers, Islam. And what the Prophet was doing, you know, like you know, diet-wise nowadays, you know, everybody's doing these, you know, the alkaline diet. Everything has to be alkaline, right? Because when you research the, you know, the pH balance of the body, right? pH balance has to be, in order for you to not get sick, it has to be what or greater? Number-wise, pH.
There you go. That's it.
7
That's right.
or greater. Who founded the pH scale? Who created that science? Anybody know? The Moors. Google it, right? Your forefathers created that to calculate the amount of potential hydrogen, right? Using the base number 7 or greater, it's impossible for you to get sick. Now, what the European did was he took our ancient texts and weaponized them, right? And gave us almost an acidic translation of our forefathers' ways. So when we read it, we get sick, right? So how many of our brothers and sisters that you know that's Christian, right? They love Jesus just like we Moorish Americans love Jesus, but they're dying. Why is their way of loving Jesus not offering them life? Right? Because the way that it was taught to them is an acidic way. Because the person that gave it to them was acidic.
Right.
Islam?
Islam.
But then there's an alkaline spirituality as well. And that alkaline spirituality comes down directly through the wording of the prophets and the spirit that they gave it in. Because every one of those words was spirit. Islam?
Islam.
All right? But without going too far, I want to demonstrate from the Holy Quran, the Moorish Science of America, a few verses, starting in chapter 18 and verses or instruction 16, and I'll probably go down to 25. So it's chapter 18. That's XVIII. And the header on that chapter reads, "The resurrection of Jesus. Pilate places the Roman seal upon the stone door of the tomb. At midnight, a company of the Silent Brotherhood march around the tomb. The soldiers are alarmed. Jesus teaches to the spirits in prison. Early Sunday morning, he rises from the tomb. The soldiers are bribed by the priest to say that the disciples have stolen the body." Islam? Shoot down, actually let's go to start at verse 15, right? Because prior to that, it talks about how, you know, Jesus' body was placed in the tomb, you know, and a certain group of brothers came to retrieve him, you know, to raise their brother or get their brother back from that condition. Islam? Verse 15 says, "Now, Jesus did not sleep within the tomb. The body is manifest of soul, but soul is without its manifest." 16, "And in the realm of souls unmanifest, the Lord went and taught." Islam? Now you have a chapter called Soul of Man in your Quran. Islam? Prophet, in explaining the soul of man, you know, he gives you certain attributes, and we're going to actually go to it and read those verses. But it gives you the attributes of thinking, understanding, reasoning, and willing. Islam? So if you're a free individual, and you have access to, you know, to your soul, you have access to your inner being, you have access and know how to use thinking, understanding, reasoning, and willing. Islam?
Islam.
But it says in 16, and in the realm of souls unmanifest, the Lord went and taught. Right? So if the attributes of the soul are thinking, understanding, reasoning, willing, and then there are people who cannot manifest these teachings or those actions, right? These ones are, they're being captive. All right, they're not free. Because if they were free, clearly they'd be demonstrating those ideals. Islam? No. All right, let's go to 17. He opened up the prison doors and set the prisoner free. He broke the chain of the captive souls and led the captives to light. See, a lot of times, if you put this Quran, this Holy Quran, in the hands of someone that's uninitiated in the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, they don't think that you're talking about Jesus of 2,000 years ago.
That's right.
That's not what this is saying. This is giving you marching orders as far as what you're called to do. All right? Because those people out there, our people, those are our people out there, right?
Right.
They can't manifest the aspects of thinking, understanding, reasoning, and willing. So it's your duty to do the following, right? Let me read it again. Opened up the prison doors and set the prisoner free. He broke the chain of the captive souls and led the captives to the light. He didn't just show it to them and tell them, go, there go the light, over there, go.
That's right.
He led the way. He got in front of them and went.
That's right.
Islam? It says, he sat in the council with the patriarchs and the prophets of olden times. Islam? How was that even possible? Because if he's in this day and time, let's say if we were talking about the Nazarene 2,000 years ago, right? And saying, okay, he sat with the prophets, so those prophets came before him 4,000 years, you know what I'm saying, 3,000 years, 2,000, whatever. How is he talking with them? But what happens is, it's not necessarily that he's talking with that prophet from 2,000 years ago. One in his midst at that moment might have been demonstrating the degree of that prophet. Islam? See, a lot of times, again, the acidic version of spirituality is to teach spookism via, Greek mythology.
Right.
Mount Olympus. God sits on the mountain up on high with a long beard, waiting to strike people with lightning and damn them to hell forever. Islam? That's acidic. That's not what our forefathers taught. We never demonstrated that. We're going to demonstrate hell in a minute too. Right? But it says, masters of all times and climes he met. And use the word masters. We have a degree on master. And in the great assemblies he stood forth and told the story of his life on earth and of his death in the sacrifice for man. So you have to, when you're educating your people, right? You can't just teach them what the record says. What I mean by the record, you can't just teach them going to the book and quote the book to them, right? It won't have no effect. Right. You gotta show them the way. You gotta show them what these teachers have done for you. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't think nobody in this room was born free. None of us was. We was all born slaves. All of us. Islam? We was all born under a foreign ideal, right? So that being the case, when you get freed up and now you learn how to think, right? Prophet said, if I can get you to think, you'll save yourself, right? Once you get that, the portion of understanding that was allotted to you, right? Then you can demonstrate the degrees, the secrets of Allah.
Right.
Islam. When you learn how to reason, Prophet says, if man would be just, he would learn to think without his passions, right? That's reasoning. When something happens, you don't automatically go to your feelings. You reason. You take the time called summon the breath, right? Because you got to oxygenate your brain to get around the situation, right? Because if you notice, if you ever, something made you really, really mad, if you notice your breathing gets short, you almost start panting like a dog. Islam? But if you get full lung, breathing, it'll actually oxygenate your brain and reboot your brain. Islam? And willing, right? Having a strong will, right? Most of us don't have strong will. You know what I mean? The slightest bit of adversity coming, it throws us off the path. Islam? So, it says, and of his promises, brothers, can I have a bottle of water, please? And of his promises to clothe himself again in garb of flesh and walk with his disciples just to prove the possibilities of man. Islam? So, so you got to tell people your journey, right? And in telling them your journey, what you're actually doing, you're showing them what is humanly possible. Because what the European has become master at is setting the bar super low. Example, right now, there's a young rapper, I think he's from Florida. His name is, pardon, Mr. Holy Day. His name is New Age Jerk Boy. Don't believe me? Google it. New Age Jerk Boy. Did a video, rap video. Brother got a wedding dress on, right? Because he said he's married to the game. Sister fell out laughing about it. Brother got down on his knees in the video, and somebody took a, I don't know what type of rifle it was. I didn't analyze that because what he did after that was just ridiculous. And put the weapon in his mouth. He was performing certain acts on the rifle. Okay? So what I'm saying is that the bar is set so low. See, there's an attack on the possibilities of man.
Right.
See, because if you can't conceive that you can be great, right? You think that's all you can be is New Age drip. Well, there's a whole generation that's coming after him, right? That's looking up at him. And why? Because he's on the internet. You know? They're like, I want to be on the internet. So what do I have to do to be on the internet? Well, he got a wedding dress. Well, it ain't the first time it's been done. Y'all know CeeLo wore a wedding dress. And right after he became one of the biggest things ever. Right? So now, every time somebody drops the bar, to get to so-called make it, you got to drop the bar a little lower, a little lower, a little lower. After a while, you're on all fours. Islam? So you got to show people how these teachers, how you have resurrected from the dead. You know, I'm looking at a bunch of people that once were dead. You know, that's what I'm looking at right now, right? Right? Because they call us black people.
That's right.
Right? Now people try to get slick, but you know, what's your nationality? I'm black. How about if I called you Negro? I ain't no Negro, I'm black. You know, Negro and black is the same word.
Right.
Islam? Bar being said, again, don't understand it.
Right.
Prophet teaches us, he says, where it is a shame to be ignorant, there he has no understanding. Islam? Moving forward. Says, to give to them the key of life, of death, and of resurrection of the dead. The prophet gave you the Quran questions of the Moorish Americans, which is 101 keys, right?
Yes,
you have to give those keys to the people, right? It says to give them the key of life, of death, and of resurrection of the dead. It says, in council, all the masters sat and talked about the revelations of the coming age. Islam? And this is what masters do. If you're true to this movement, like the prophet tells you, you would give your life, your very life, to protect the prophet and the movement, right? If you're that serious about it, you sit down with other masters who are that serious, and you begin to plot out, a course for your people, based on the foundation that was laid by the prophet, the one that laid the original stones, to begin with, right? It says, and verse 24 it's amazing because people, say that Moorish American Muslims are misogynistic or it's a male-dominated. That's interesting. Verse 24, when she, the holy breath, shall fill the earth and air with holy breath and open up the way of man to perfectness and endless life. Islam? So the holy breath, also known as the highest self, is known as Sheik.
That's right.
The Garden of Siloam was silent on the Sabbath day. The Jewish soldiers watched and no one else approached the tomb, but on the following night, the scene changed. Islam? Now, it uses the phrase the Garden of Siloam. The word Siloam is the same word salam, meaning peace. Notice that peace is connotated with the word garden. People go to gardens for peace of mind, for tranquility, coolness of the air, flowers. You see the bird, hear the birds and the bees and all that type of stuff, right? So peace is, is synonymous with a garden. A garden is synonymous with a grove. Islam? So, again, we have to work, to make peace be still, but you have to, we have to establish, that peace or that heaven for people that have only known hell.
That's right.
Now, the Prophet Noble Ali tells us that, Allah never made a heaven or hell for men. That we are creators and we make our own, right? But, in his lessons, he teaches us, in Key 55, he talks about the name, the first physical man cannot be known except by members of the AC of the MSTFA, AC of the MSTFA, added chamber of the More Science of America, parentheses, third heaven. So if there's a third heaven, there's two other heavens, right? First heaven, Friday holy day, Sunday school, Quran class. Second heaven, some would say Sheikism or the Sheik degree. If you're elevated to the point where you receive, the office of Sheik. Third heaven is when you become an adept. Islam. Second heaven is where we handle business. It's why business meetings, financial reports, so on and so forth. We get to third heaven, we don't deal with any of that. Prophet calls that the abode of peace, where no vain word or sinful discourse is even heard. Islam. But he established those heavens, right?
That's right.
Had to, because the Moorish Science Temple of America had to exist as a heaven for people who have only known this out here. Islam? If we go to chapter 3, the Holy Quran. Elihu's lessons, the unity of life. It says, again, Elihu met his pupils in the sacred grove and said, it's a meeting just like this. It says, no man live unto himself, for every living thing is bound by cords to every other living thing. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will love and not demand love in return. They will not do to other men what they would not have other men do unto them. There are two selves, the higher and the lower self. The higher self is human spirit clothed with soul, made in the form of Allah. The lower self, the carnal self, the body of desires, is a reflection of higher self, distorted by the murky ethers of the flesh. So when you talk about the Negro condition, or the condition of being a black man or black woman, or the condition of being an African American, especially here in America, when you hear these definitions of the lower self, this is what's being demonstrated, right? It says, the lower self, the lower self is an illusion and will pass away. The higher self is Allah and man and will not pass away. The higher self is the embodiment of truth. The lower self is truth reversed, and so is falsehood manifest. The higher self is justice, mercy, love, and right. The lower self is what the higher self is not. So when we're being Negroes, blacks, coloreds, African Americans, we are being what our forefathers were not. Because our forefathers and our foremothers were their higher selves. And we know that by their works. You go around the earth and look at what our forefathers have done. You can only do that in a state of higher self, right? We love to talk about we built the pyramids. We love talking about that, right? Pyramids of Giza is the main ones, and they're not talking about the American pyramids. Everybody thinks about those. But the ones in Giza, we forget, we talk about those, but those took about 100 years to build. You can't build 3 gigantic pyramids in 100 years in a state of war, right? You had to have been in 100 years of solid peace. We can't relate to that here in America because every generation is a major war or conflict. Islam? Right? Moving forward, it says the lower self. Now think about the Asiatic communities, the so-called black communities in America. I said so-called. In America when I read this. It says the lower self breeds hatred, slander, lewdness, murder, theft, and everything that harms. The higher self is the mother of the virtues and the harmonies of life. Pause and meditate on verse 11, the first part. This week on the news, there was a report where an Asiatic sister placed 2 of her sons in a stove and burned them alive. Now, I just turned 45. There was a time in my youth that if I was turned away from the television and that was on, I'd automatically say European, right? But when did the roles become reversed? Well, now the moral compass of Earth is doing stuff like that. Right? So we've actually become the lower self, right? And that's dangerous because with melanin, we will be able to do stuff that Europeans can't do. See, in your higher self, you can do things no one on Earth can do. Works the other way as well. That's right. If you decide to drop to your lowest, no one on Earth will be able to outdo you in devilship. In fact, the first devils, if I may use that word, didn't look European. They looked like us. That's right. We forget that. Islam. Right? Let's move on. It says, 12, the lower self is rich in promises, but poor in blessedness and peace. It offers pleasure, joy, and satisfying gain, but gives unrest, misery, and death. And that's all our people know. It gives men apples that are lovely to the eye and pleasant to the smell. Their cores are full of bitterness and gall. The core of an apple is the center of the apple, correct? The core of our people is the center part of it, right? It says their cores are full of bitterness and gall. Gall is hatred, right? Gaul is also the name of a barbaric tribe, the Gauls.
That's right.
Islam?
Islam.
We've become that barbaric tribe.
Right.
Islam? It says, 14, as we mentioned earlier, if you would ask me what to study, I would say yourselves, then you will have studied them, and then would ask me what to study next, I would reply, yourselves. Meaning, there's no greater study to study on earth than you.
That's right.
He who knows well his lower self knows the illusions of the world, knows of the things that pass away. And he who knows his higher self knows Allah, knows well the things that cannot pass away. So is Allah a spook God to the Moors?
Yes, sir.
Because one who knows their higher self knows Allah.
That's right.
So if you know thyself and thy Father God Allah. So if you want to meet the Most High, learn you.
That's right.
Islam?
Islam.
Thrice blessed is the man who has made purity and love his very own. He has been ransomed from the perils of the lower self and is himself his higher self. Men seek salvation from an evil that deems a living monster of the level of the netherworld. And they have gods, another word for God is ideal, that are but demons in disguise, all powerful, yet full of jealousy and hate and lust. Talk to the average one of our people. We've even made hating a popular term. He hating on me.
That's right.
She hating on me. We know that.
Mm-hmm.
How much do we know love though?
Right.
We are completely ignorant of what true love is, but we've mastered hate. But that's a part of the journey. We'd have to have mastered that to know what love is. Islam?
Islam.
Whose favors must be bought by costly sacrifice of fruit and the lives of birds and animals and humankind. There's people think that they have to murder others or step on others' necks to become wealthy or to come up. Just talking about. And yet, these gods possess no ears to hear, no eyes to see, no heart to sympathize, no power to save. This evil is a myth. These gods are made of air and clothed with the shadow of thought. The only devil from which man must be redeemed is self, lower self. If man will find his devil, he must look within. His name is self. If man will find his savior, he must look within. And when the demon self has been dethroned, the savior love will be exalted to the throne of power. The David of the light is purity, who slays the strong Goliath of the dark and seeks the savior love upon the throne. Surely Allah speaks the truth through his holy divine prophet, Noble Drew Ali Islam. It's interesting that the prophet demonstrated David and Goliath, because in that story it says that David went to the stream and pulled 5 smooth stones. A smooth stone represents a perfect principle, right? It's called, some would refer to as a perfect ashlar, right? But it only took one. It took 5 smooth stones. 5 principles: love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. But it only took one placed their forehead and in the forehead of that adversary to take him down, and that was love. Perfect, not just any love, perfectly placed love. Islam. And until we learn how to, because it said, according to the story, David was a master of that sling, knowing how to place those degrees. Islam. His name, Dawid, means beloved.
That's right.
His name is love. Islam. So that's the degree on that. But Moors, we have to redeem our people from hell. You have to ask yourself, are you willing to go into hell to go get your people? If you see people, I remember when I was young, I was growing up in the era, I grew up in the crack era. And I remember, for whatever reason, and probably the riots that took place, there was a lot of abandoned buildings, a lot of burnt out buildings and stuff like that. And I remember, playing in abandoned buildings. Like we nothing to do. We just go run around in abandoned buildings. So I remember it's like around 80, it had to be 86, 87. I remember playing in this one abandoned building, me and a friend of mine, and my friend told me, shh, hush, quiet. Listen. I looked, and there was a hole in the wall, and I looked at the wall, and there was a sister on the other side of the wall. It was like this, messed up furniture, and then like a messed up couch or whatever. And she was sitting there, and she put a pipe to her lips. And crack was new. We didn't know, we heard of what happened, and we saw the fallout, but we were too young to see someone smoke crack. So I remember actually seeing someone actually put the pipe to their lips and, and light it and inhale it. And I remember may Allah take my life if I'm lying, but I remember seeing that sister, it looked like her soul left her form when she inhaled it and sat back, and it looked like it was just a shell there. like when you go and get corn, you take the husk off, take the corn out, and just look at the husk, and it's just dry, it's brittle. That's how her form looked, you know. And we was like we was just, you know, me and my friend was just looking, we were terrified. We had never seen nothing like that. So he's like, come on, let's go. We ran out the house and stuff, you know what I'm saying? He, you know, we made a pact right there on the spot. He said, man, we gotta swear, man, you, if I ever see you smoking that, I'll kill you. You know what I'm saying? I made the same thing, you know, with him. But it was like, the condition, you have to know the condition our people are in. And you are never so great that you are above the condition of your people. I don't care what you know.
That's right.
I don't care what you study. I don't care how much money you got in the bank. I don't care what degrees you got. You are never greater than the condition of your own people.
That's right.
Islam,
Islam.
if whatever master's behind, you know, this altar, demonstrate it, you know, hold them to that standard. You know what I'm saying? Like if you hear anything coming out there, like we better than our people.
Right.
Islam, well, that ain't what the record said.
Islam.
The Prophet said, take them to chapter 9 in your Quran. Islam, chapter of human equality. Right?
Islam.
And you know, I ain't gonna fail them or not. I'm reaching for my test. But, you know, you use your plumb line, you know, to erect perpendiculars. Stand it up straight. Islam, you know, for those taking notes, you go to, you know, Amos chapter 7 in the Bible. It talks about the plumb line. You know, or you go to chapter 5 in your Quran, the Prophet talks about the plumb line. But in Amos chapter 7, it talks about the plumb line will be placed in the midst of the people. Meaning that there will always be an upright standard of what it is to be upright amongst the people. Wow. So no matter what we went through, even chattel slavery, there was ones amongst us who was able to stand up to the best of their ability.
That's right.
Right? To show us that, nah, we're not that. Islam? And we'll be remiss in our duties 2017 to not take what we know and go out there and get our people back. Islam? You got sisters that have lost mothering instinct. They don't know what it is to be mothers no more. I see sisters walking down the street, man, their kids is running way ahead of them. Like little toddlers, 2 years old. They don't have them, you know, they're not holding them, they're not in strollers, nothing. They just run away ahead. You know, kids are sporadic thinkers. They can just dart out into the street, get hit by a car. No parenting instinct. Islam? I tell the story all the time, you know, sisters, don't leave new fathers. Sisters, I even know where I'm going. Don't leave new fathers home with your babies. We're not built like that. We don't understand. I give this out to myself. I ain't putting on brothers. I have 5. My oldest daughter's first born, Sheik. My Sheik just goes to a conversation where we're gonna have about some things, right? But my daughter was born, right? My ex-wife, she was like, did you, you know, she left me with the baby, came back. She said, did you bathe the baby today? I said, no. She said, all day long, you didn't wash the baby at all. No. Why not? She don't stink yet. Now, think about the yoke around her neck, because she like, I have a child by this guy. Right? So she had to explain to me why you have to bathe an infant every day. See, boys don't grow up playing with dolls and stuff. We don't have any of that. You have to be educated in that. And moreover, I didn't have a father who could have taught me that and saved me that embarrassment, right? But the point is that, you know, don't leave them, you know, because, you know, another example I use, I remember when my barbershop was on Edgewood, and Auburn Avenue, and, you know, I have to look out the front window of the barbershop. This is wintertime, it's like January, February, cold outside. So brother, he got a big old coat on, he's walking with the baby. The baby had, you know what a onesie is? The baby has a onesie on, so it's like maybe 35, maybe 40 degrees outside. Baby has a onesie on, he's just strolling down the street, so I ran, I said, bro, come here, man. You look more like I'm tripping, right? So he walked up, what? I said, man, come in the shop, man, I want to talk to you about something real quick. Came in, you know, have a seat. He said, what's going on, man? I said, it's cold outside, ain't it? He said, yeah. I said, it's so cold, you put a coat on, right? I said, yeah. You didn't think of putting nothing on, baby? I'm just going to my auntie house like 2 blocks up. What's your auntie's number? Called aunties. Would you mind coming down here? You know, your nephew got the baby out with a onesie on. She's like, what? Took off, came down to the shop, cussed him out all the way up Auburn Avenue. It was ridiculous. But, you know, the point is that, you know, and I'm quite sure I probably lost my point somewhere here, but just the condition of our people, I think is what I'm saying, right? You know, that the instinct of it, that's what it was. The instinct of it has been lost. You see? Because in us living the lifestyle that's been forced upon us for so long, it removed us from the way Allah created us, or the great God, or whatever works for your sensibilities, right? The Most High, whatever you need. took us away from the genetic coding that we would remember, right? So even if you wasn't raised by mother and father, if you was adopted or whatever, right? Genetic memory states, well, I should, let me protect the child. I need to provide for what, I need to protect my wife. I need to, make sure my husband is all right. You see what I'm saying?
That's right.
These are things that was in us. They're not in them no more. There was an image I saw early in the week. It was a sister. She has 9 children, 9 different fathers, and is not in a relationship. Now she's proud. I'm raising them by myself. I'm winning. Look, sis, you're not winning. You're going to find out when they get older. But this is the condition that we're in, right? And believe it or not, that's hell. And that's not, a hell that, like a biblical hell.
Right.
That's a hell we created for ourselves because we choose to continue believing we're something that we're not. Islam? And, that is a condition that no one around the world wants because they're all watching us. They're all watching us. You think every time Tyler Perry makes a movie, they got a new one out, Medea, what's it called, Boo, what's the Halloween movie, part 2, it's the second one now. You think we're the only ones watching that? You think they're not watching that in China, in India, all throughout Africa? You think they're not watching that? And you think they're not developing an opinion of us, a general opinion,
That's right.
based upon our brother who's a multi-millionaire now, who can't stay out of the dress. Respect to the brother and all his uplifting acts. He's helped a lot of Asiatics. But, we got to call naught for what it is. That's folly. It's foolishness. Get out the dress, brother. You see what I'm saying? Because you're inspiring brothers to think that that's what they have to do. I saw an interview with Dave Chappelle the other day, and he was on Stephen Colbert's show. And, Dave Chappelle, before he, walked away from the millions and stuff, he talked about wearing the dress when he was on Oprah. And he brought the dress out, and I wouldn't wear the dress, whatever. He comes out on Stephen Colbert with a shirt that, for all intents and purposes, is like a mini skirt for a woman, but he had jeans on under. I said, oh, dang. Google it, Stephen Colbert. Yeah. Dave Chappelle's, he's a Muslim, by the way. But it all boils down to how bad do you want their form of success?
Right.
What's your price? Do you have a price? Don't tell me, like Michael Jackson demonstrated the man in the mirror. When you're home, you're looking in the mirror, do you have a price? Would you smack your mama for $5 million? I know there's some giggles. I have to suppress them. It's the holy day. Act 2. I'm trying to keep it high, y'all. Y'all know, you see what I'm saying? See what I got to work with? That side of the room is a little hot in there. But you understand what I'm saying? Do you have a price? Because the damage that you could cause to your mother by smacking her, you think finance could erase that? Ving Rhames, Pulp Fiction. I don't know if y'all ever seen this book. He read that role, that he was going to have to be violated as a man in the movie by a little redneck European. Ving Rhames has sons. His sons have to know their father did that. Yeah, they might live in a big house and Maybach Benzes and all of that. But nevertheless, that's caught on film that their father was in that compromising position. Islam, so you have to ask yourself, do you have a price? Because if you do have a price, I might have to worry about you. Because if the price is big enough, you might sell me out.
That's right.
You might sell the prophet out. That's sell your brother or sister out. You see? And if we do have a price, then we need to discipline ourselves to get that dollar sign off of us. Nothing wrong with wealth. We're not against money, right? But I'm saying for somebody to waive, because they're going to come to you. I'm letting you know, If you're doing something powerful for your people, the alphabet boys, if you don't know who they are, the government agencies, will approach you. And they'll make you offers. We've been made offers to sell out our people. We've been made those offers. We said no. Islam? And we said no because I'm still working here 7 days a week. Couldn't have. If I would have said yes, my lifestyle would have changed automatically. Islam, right? And I'm not saying that we have to be poor, righteous teachers. And I know there's a high version of that teaching. I'm not going to anyone's teaching. But poverty is not equated with righteousness. That's not what I'm saying. But being wealthy does not erase. In other words, being wealthy does not automatically make you a good person. It doesn't automatically make everything that you say right. You know, in fact, you'll notice that people that are billionaires and millionaires, the next thing they start doing after they've satisfied every carnal desire, they go to spirituality. That's how Scientology became big. You know, they start seeking and searching, and, you know, Tom Cruise jumping up on Oprah's couch acting crazy and stuff because he's trying to, you know, I done did everything. You know, I asked a question last week. I said, if you became a billionaire tomorrow, right? What would be your purpose of getting up every day? Now you get up every day now to go to work. How many working people are there? Okay. You woke up tomorrow, you don't have to go to work no more. What is every day of your life is built on what? What do we do now? The floor is open.
Creativity.
No, we've had these conversations. I know what you're going to say. Sister?
I said creativity.
Creativity. What else? Come on, y'all. Creation. Uplifting fallen humanity. Could we help some impoverished people, perhaps? I was talking with a customer earlier. They were talking about the new stadium, $2 billion. So you could take $2 billion and build a stadium, but you don't have no answers for homelessness.
Talk about it.
You don't have no answers for the sewage problem. The very place on the back side of the stadium is an area called Vine City. When it rains real bad, Vine City floods every year. But you don't have no answers for that. But you got $2 billion for cats to play football, sport and play. Islam? Right? And again, these decisions are being made because you're not in place. You're not in power, because you would be the voice of reason in the room. Islam, but you're not being represented. And it's one, I'm not saying ones that look like you aren't there. No, there's plenty of that.
Yeah.
I'm saying ones with your principles
No.
and what you stand for. That sense of nationhood and that sense of humanity. You know, prophets, he gives us a degree in the beginning of the Quran where he says, for the sake of humanity. That's an international law statement. You research humanity, Google humanity international law, find how many documents come up. Noble Drew being the lawman that he was teaching you religious principles, true. But he was also giving you international law. He said, come link yourself back with the family of nations. Right? Why, when the free nationals saw the feathers and the turbans and the Moors in full vestment, they just automatically magnetized them because they are on the same principles, according to their custom.
Right.
But custom alters not the nature of truth. Islam? All right? But that's pretty much it, Lewis. I just wanted to hit those points, but the key is, you're going to see more of this temple here going out amongst the people, and we got it, because again, when people feel uncomfortable, that's when change happens. So when you're around them, if I was to walk up on an Asiatic with this turban on, it's going to make them uncomfortable, right? But it'll make them uncomfortable enough to even ask the question, or for me to see the uncomfortability on them, for me to initiate the conversation. Either way, there's a learning process. So they can never say they didn't know, right?
That's right.
Go in the Bible when it talks about, just type in Jesus and the 4 seeds, right? When he talks about, when the farmer was planting the seeds, he said, some, fell on rocky soil, some fell by the wayside, some went down, deep enough to grow, so on and so forth, and there was another one as well. But the point is that, a seed that you plant, a conversation you have with somebody may not manifest immediately. They may act ignorant after that conversation for the next 10 years. But in a situation that happened in their lives that'll cause them to remember the conversation. A long time ago, this dude came up to me with this tall red hat, that's what he's gonna call it. And he said this same thing I'm seeing right now. I need to find them brothers and sisters. Well, I seen a little short dude with a white turban on, big old beard, right? He was talking some nationality stuff, some divine creed stuff, right? And that stuff comes back. But if a person was never taught, it says, how will a man know unless he be taught? And how will he be taught unless he have a teacher?
That's right.
Right? So we must become those teachers, right? If Allah blessed you to know a thing or to see this needs to be changed, don't wait for nobody else to do it. It came through you. You have to spearhead that. I love when people come to me with ideas. Man, I think we should do this. Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you for volunteering. Because that's how it works.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? There's no parceling off or conscripting or drafting nobody to fulfill an idea that Allah placed in your heart and your spirit. Islam? All right? Because all of us have a portion of understanding. It's something that our nation needs, right? And you're shirking your duty if you don't bring that, right? Don't just all the time put it off on the sheiks, or the elders of the temple. You know, a lot of times y'all, you know, some of the masters might be sitting in the rows right now. You see? But if you don't open your mouth and let us know what you do, and don't share your gift, we won't know how to place you, or maybe, you know, back up what you're trying to do. You know, my brother right here, yeah, I'm gonna put you out there, brother. Brother right here's in the banking. How many Asiatic bankers you know? How many brothers you know that's in the banking? Last time you met a banker, probably was at the bank trying to get some money out. Right? Brother's a banker. Tell me we can't, you know, I'm quite sure our brother could show us how to open our own bank if necessary. And if he doesn't know, he has access to find out how we could do that. True?
You send my email right now. It costs $48,000. I'm just $48,000.
We didn't plan that, by the way. That's how it works, right? But yeah, we got to talk. But this is, you know, but see, a lot of times people that have stuff, man, like, I get it. You know, masters of various different disciplines, you know, don't always go around telling what they know, because they know a lot of times, most times people aren't serious. So you don't want to go wasting breath, you know. But, you know, we're quite serious about this movement here, because we know the salvation of our people depends on it. So anybody, if you have any gifts, please, you know, let the secretary know, let myself know, you know, let one of the sheiks know, let us know so we can get some things going, right? Because you'll inspire things in us, you know, and because, you know, we have boys around the country that's, you know, doing credit unions and all types of stuff and getting things off the ground. So we need to coordinate it to make it a national movement. You see? I give honors to them, you know, to our Mexican brothers and sisters again. You know, Buford Highway, man. You know, you go up there, they got El Banco. El Banco. They not dealing with Bank of America. They're not dealing with all of them because they don't treat them right. So we let people treat us wrong and still keep supporting it. Free National said, we got free national standards and principles, Jack. Guess what we're gonna do? We're gonna open our own bank. MARTA goes up. What's MARTA price now to get on MARTA? Everybody know? Was it $2.50? Goodness gracious, it was what, $1? It was $1 when I got here. $2.50. So it's doubled and some, right? Mexicans got tired of that. They got their own fleet of buses on Buford Highway. I'm not talking about no bootleg school bus looking stuff. I'm talking about brand new fleet of buses that put MARTA to shame. All white with the routes in Spanish. They're not planning on, yeah, you can get on it if you can read Spanish. They'll take your money too, but it's for them. Islam? No. So how would you like to see a bus with like this on the side? How proud would you feel as a nation? Islam? You know, that's what Prophet Noble Drew Ali brought. You have to take your principles and these instructions and bring them to life, you know, so you can breathe life into our people. Men, and I'm gonna lower the meeting with this. Men in this era, men need a God they can see, unfortunately. We're coming out of that era, but men are still in that state. So you have to show them. You can't just tell them.
That's right.
You know, unfortunately, you got to show them. We have to become pretty well off financially.
That's right.
For them to respect us.
That's right.
They're not going to respect us being poor.
That's right.
You know, you can be right all day long, right? But as long as a rapper is outdoing you economically, he's going to listen to rap.
Mm-hmm.
Islam?
No.
You know, long as Oprah and Ayanna Vine's aunt and all them. I said Ayanna too. Going to Ayanna to fix my life and all that type of stuff. You know, instead of going to your Prophet Noble Drew Ali to fix your life. Islam? People go to them because they're on television, they're wealthy, you know, all that type of stuff. You can have the same if you just apply what you've been taught. You know, a lot of times in elementary school they'll mark children with the bad credit of saying student does not apply himself. You know, how many of us are capable of so much but don't believe in yourselves? So many of us in this room right now should be much further than we are in our lives, but we don't believe in ourselves. And it's not all the way your fault because you don't have a community to back you, to remind you that you're great, right? We have an inner child too, right? So we think we're grown, we think we're away from that. Nah, if you do something great, you want somebody to applaud that.
That's right.
And pray that you should have that. But our people don't have that. You know, my mother taught me when I was little? I'm short, but I have long arms. She said, yeah, I'm weird built. I have to get custom stuff. I can't buy that off the rack. It was stupid. My life was rough. But she said, baby, She said, you know, God gave you long arms so you learn how to reach around and pat your own self in the back. Because if you wait for others to do it, you'll be waiting for a long time. That's sad that she had to give me that instruction, right? But that she knew the state of world I was growing up in, right? But, you know, having gone through that and coming across my prophet, you know, now, you know, I can't wait for more to do something so I can applaud it, uplift it. You know what I'm saying? Brother Chairman, do a sketch. Come on, let me say, praise Allah, more. Wow, you did this, more? More, when you start drawing, more? For real? And you know, yeah, boy, it's a, come, if you think I'm playing, test it. The more did all these, oh, look at this, look at this. Look at this. Smoke. That man right there with the Professor Drew, the Egyptian adult student suit on. That more representing more. I meant to demonstrate shit. But that more right there did all that. And if you compliment that more on this, he's so humble. Oh, praise Allah. Nah, more. Yeah, praise Allah, true. Do that, right? But I need you to know what Allah gave you. Because if you don't know what Allah gave you, you're going to sleep on the gift. And if you sleep on the gift, anything you don't use often will be snatched from you. That's how the universe works. Islam? So whatever Allah has given you, do it. Be proud of it. Don't become too boastful though. It's a delicate balance, right? But still, own it though. Islam? And don't shy off compliments. You know how people bad at that too. That's a nice bow tie you got there, brother. Oh, this old thing? I had this for you. Brother, take the compliment. Because we don't have a sense of self-worth, so we'll automatically go to self-deprecation. Islam? Now, let me get off my soapbox. And with that, I'll lower the meeting. Islam, Moors? Moor Science Temple of America, Noble Drew Ali founder, home office, Chicago, Illinois, March 11th, 1929. A warning from the Prophet to be read in every meeting. I hereby inform all members that they must put an end to all radical and agitating speech while on their jobs, homes, or on the public streets. We advocate peace and not destruction. Stop trying out your cards with the Europeans, for it causes confusion. There has been much confusion caused by members trying out their cards. The cards are for your salvation. Failure of obeying my orders will be of severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members that seek to hold malicious feelings towards the temple or the prophet, or to violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement, will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors must obey the laws laid down to them by their prophet, and if they lose confidence in their prophet, give up your card and button, cease wearing your turban or fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. For this is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet Noble Drew Ali. And that the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet is sending out a divine plea to all true Moorish Americans that they may do their part in protecting their prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. Peace. Noble Drew Ali. Islam? Islam. Islam? Islam. 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 All praises are due to Allah, the author, creator, governor of the world, the almighty, eternal, and incomprehensible. And the highest of honors extended to his holy, divine prophet, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, the founder of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Love made manifest. Islam, Moors? All praises are due to Allah, Moors. Thank you for your patience. You know, thank you for giving Prophet Noble Drew Ali a chance. Right? We tried a lot of other stuff. You know, tried being black, tried being Greeks, tried being Masons. Respect to all the groups. Right? We tried all those things, but none has the remedy for the nations like Prophet Noble Drew Ali. And until Prophet Noble Drew Ali's program is put on the forefront, the nations of the earth will continue to suffer. One last thing, I give honors, I'd like to extend honors to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan in his latest address in Newark, New Jersey. But in the address, as it's related to me, and he gave honor to Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Indeed. See, you're going to start noticing some things. You're going to start noticing the Nation of Islam, the Moorish Science Temple of America, getting closer and closer and closer. Because truth be told, it's one movement. It's one movement. You know, it's become different marching orders over the years, but not really. You know, because anything, you know, that seems to be separate or fragmented as an illusion that will pass away. So that illusion is starting to break away, and the Moors and the nations start to realize we're laboring to do the same thing. Islam? So the more the Moors start demonstrating the Prophet, the more Mr. Farrakhan is starting to open up about the Prophet. Islam? All right? So, like I said, a lot of people are watching these little meetings. These little humble meetings like this that go out over the internet. People watch them and all over the world. People are bearing witness to Prophet Ali. I had a brother from Cambodia reach out to me. The brother said, I give high honors to Prophet Noble Ali. I said, praise Allah. I said, what makes you say that? He said, what caught my attention was y'all brothers wearing the fez. He said, because when I grew up, my grandfather used to take me in the jungles of Cambodia, and in the temples out there, there are statues of men wearing a similar headdress. I said, can you send it to me? And he shot it to me, and it's, lo and behold, it's brothers in Cambodia. I mean brothers, Hamitic looking brothers, like the KRS-One nose, and the whole nine, the fez and the whole nine, in the jungles of Cambodia. These were their elders and their gods.
That's right.
These are the ones they go to and bow and worship at the feet of. Literally, right? The Buddhist priest, right? Why did, the Prophet Noble Ali give you Buddha back? That's connected to your heritage as well. Islam? So if you take the time to understand Noble Ali, you're not going to pick this up in one read and understand it, right? It takes a lifetime, right? Because a master could put something together small like this and unfold the entire universe to you. Right? So that's what we, the Prophet says, study the Quran and the divine constitution that was handed down to you by Allah the Prophet. Because with these two right here, you can raise a nation. Islam, because both of these, in truth, are the manifest of you. Right? You are the manifest of this law. Islam? All right? So with that, we'll close the meeting. Everyone please rise, face the east, which is right ahead of you. Please hold your feet at the 45-degree angle. Your heels will be touching like this. Raise 5 fingers on your left, 2 fingers on your right, invoking the sacred presence of the seven Elohim, the creator of everything that ever was, is, or evermore shall be. Please repeat after me. Allah, the Father of the universe,
Father of the universe,
the Father of love,
Father of love,
truth, peace,
freedom,
and justice.
and justice.
Allah is my protector,
Allah is my protector,
my guide,
my guide,
and my salvation.
and my salvation.
By night
By night
and by day.
and by day.
Through his holy prophet,
Through his holy prophet,
Drew Ali.
Drew Ali.
Amen.
Amen.
Islam, Moors.
Islam.
Praise Allah.